Hi, I'm Mark Toole with 8020service.com. Today's customer service video question of the day comes from Quora. The question is one that those of you who watched my videos before, read my writing before, know I've got a very strong opinion about, but somebody asked the question, I'm going to answer this directly and head on. The question is, isn't the greatest customer service when you don't need any customer service? And, of course, the simple answer to the question is yes. Yes, of course that's the best. That's always definitely the best way to go. Not even really a question. The only question is, how do you do this? And is it really that simple? And the answer to the first part, how do you do this? I've actually prepared a guide for that. I've got a pre-order available right now. Go to my website, 8020service.com. I'll have a link on there. You can find that. But is this possible? Is this something you could do? Is it really that simple? No. Of course, it's not really that simple. Now, yes, this is something you want to do, but is it... People comment here, and they're making excuses, and they're not wrong. I'll kind of agree with them, but I'm going to clarify on this. People say, yes, that would be great, but it's impossible, so you should have good customer service. And I agree with that. But the temptation when someone tells you, that'd be great, but it's impossible, don't bother. The temptation is to think, nah, I don't need to bother with that. I'll just have good customer service, because we're going to need to have customer service anyways. We'll just have good customer service in the conventional definition of those terms and call it good. And yeah, maybe it'd be nice if we were so good that no one needed to contact them, but that's not going to happen, so we'll just have people deal with it. That's not really... It's a cop-out, really. It's an excuse. There are a lot of things you can do, and if you keep in mind this goal, as a goal, that your customer service team should not be busy. Conventional customer service nerds, people with khaki pants, people sitting around in PowerPoint slide meetings, wasting their time, they like to talk about things like efficiency, and they want to sit there and look at the customer service agents, and every second of every day should be occupied by some sort of a fidget. They should be typing an email. They should be sending an automated templated response. They should be answering phone calls. If they go to the bathroom, their piss breaks are timed, and they're analyzed for who pisses the quickest, so they're the most efficient agent. This view is entirely broken and wrong and foolish, and when you think about it this way, in terms of this question, it makes no sense at all. Your customer service people should not be busy at all. If this is your goal, to have customers it's a simple goal, really. Why do customers contact customer service? They have a problem. They have a question, something's wrong, they need something done that they can't do themselves. And this is always worse than the alternative. If they didn't have the problem at all, that's better. If they could figure out the answer to the question themselves, that's better. If they could accomplish the thing they're trying to do themselves, that's better. Instead, they have to contact you and say, hey, something's wrong, can you fix this for me? It's never as good as the alternative. So, yes, you want to prevent these things. You want to prevent all these problems as much as possible from happening. But this is where I'll agree with the people making the excuses here. It'll never be 100%. There's always going to be some one-off issue, or something's actually going to break, or yes, some users or customers just simply won't understand something, won't know how to do something. It's in front of them, it's easy, but they don't read it, they don't want to read it, they don't understand, they'd rather have you do it for them. This will always be a thing. Now, don't use it as an excuse, though. If you get too much of that, if people are asking you to do a thing that they could easily do themselves, maybe it's not as easy as you thought. Because most people, especially younger people, people in our generation here, don't want to contact customer service. They want the thing to work the way it's supposed to, and if something's not right, they want to figure it out themselves, get it accomplished, and move on with their day, not go back and forth with some dumb customer service agent. Now, if you do this right, if you follow my system, your customer service agents will not be dumb. If someone has to contact them, it'll be as smooth as it can be, but it'll never be as good as not having to contact them at all, which is the #1 goal, which is what this question is leading to here as well. So, yes, the best customer service is the customer who never has to contact you. The customer you only know exists, in fact, when you go into your shopping cart system and see that he just buys from you again and again and again and again and again, and he's never spoken to you. You've never talked to him. You didn't know he existed until you saw his repeat payments coming in. That's the best customer to have, and you can make a much greater number of your customers into that customer if you do things right, if you anticipate and prevent problems before they happen, do things intelligently, and don't just use, well, we have to have customer service people, so let's just use them as a dumping ground for all this stuff and not bother fixing it. My best day for customer service is the day when my team sits around and does nothing. 0 tickets, 0 complaints, 0 emails, 0 live chats, and they sit there and if something comes up, they're there, they're ready to help, but I don't want them to help if there's nothing to help with. And as course, this is as long as sales are still coming in and that sort of thing. But that's really the ideal situation here. And this leads to, if you take this approach, it leads to better customer service as well for the few people who do have to contact you. Why? Think about it. Most of the problems with regular, conventional customer service come from the fact that they are very, very overworked. They're overwhelmed. There's all these questions, all these tickets, all these complaints, all these requests, all this garbage, all this sewage dumping down a pipe into a dumpster called customer service that's supposed to wade through it and handle it all. And they try, but they need so many people, they got to hire cheaper people. And then the cheaper people don't want to work, so they need systems to force them to work, and they need teams of nerds to analyze them, and they need procedures manuals and scripts. If customer asks about X, read script Y, to make sure these people don't try to think and do something wrong, and it just leads to worse and worse outcomes. You put more complexity on that to try to force an acceptable outcome out of it, and it just multiplies from there. My approach keeps it simple, of course, and keeping it simple, the first step, like we said, preventing these problems before they happen. What that means is that your customer service team is not busy. They should not be busy. If they're busy, you're doing something wrong, or you need more people if you have a very, very, very large business. But even then, when I ran customer service for James Altucher's newsletter business a few years ago, we had tens of thousands of paying customers, hundreds, if not more, emails some days, not every day. We did do as best as we could to prevent this stuff. But point is, thousands and thousands of paying customers, multi-million-dollar revenues, and handled this with a couple of ladies in the Philippines and a dude named Ron. So you don't and they were not that busy, and honestly could have done with less but didn't need to. But if your team is really, really busy, unless you're working with or for running a huge business with a lot of customers, I'm not going to recommend you hire more people until you fix the underlying problems here, because really, when you do this right, you may find you need a lot fewer people. So they shouldn't be busy, and when they're not busy, then they have time to think. They have time to, a customer asks a question, they have time to think about it. Go, okay, what does this guy want? How can I fix this? And how can we make sure this never happens to anyone else again? They can answer it as a human being in a relaxed fashion, not rushing to bang out 47 emails a minute so their boss puts a little chart on a graph and says, hey, that looks pretty nice there, fella. No, none of that. It's just a person who cares about the business, who cares about the profits, who cares about the customer, and working to resolve the problems, the conflicts, the questions between those two things. Someone working in the interest of the business, not the lowest paid person you could find who hates his job and is looking at his watch so he can go take another smoke break and secretly plotting about pissing in your lunchbox or something like these conventional customer service departments. Yes, that's who you're talking to when you call these things as a customer. And if you're running one of these, that's the people that are working in it. Whether you know it or not, that's what it is. So I'll wrap this answer up here. I think I've covered it. But basically, yes, that is the greatest customer service is no customer service, because there's no need for customer service. In fact, I would go to say that except for the rare occasions when I have to contact them, one of the businesses with the worst reputation for customer service, I'll just say it, Comcast. Everybody loves to bitch about how terrible Comcast's customer service is. And when you have to contact them, they're right. It's terrible. I tell them, I do not want a landline phone service. I do not want TV. I just need my internet fixed. And then the guy proceeds to try to sell you landline phone services and TVs and all this other bullshit. They don't listen because I won't go into the details about them. When you have to contact them, they are indeed terrible. They are an example of the conventional approach of massive complexity gone awry, building on top of it with more and more complexity, making it worse and worse and worse. But the other 364 days of the year, they have some of the best customer service in the world because I never have to speak to them. I just get up and turn on my phone and turn on my computer, and the internet's there, and it works, and it's fast, and everything's good. when there's a problem, their customer service is terrible. But for the majority of people, the majority of the time, it's great because no one has to talk to them. Now, I'm not saying that my approach, well, I guess what I'm saying is if you follow my approach to anticipate and prevent problems, to do things right, to have things work from the beginning without people having to contact customer service, you can get away with having bad customer service for the few people who do need to contact you. I'm not recommending that, and obviously something like Comcast is different because it's a monopoly. What am I going to do? Not have internet? Got to deal with them. So, unless you're running some sort of monopoly business, even then I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a smart business practice to provide terrible customer service, but basically prevention, anticipation, doing things right from the beginning is the most important, most essential piece of the customer service puzzle, and getting that right, you might be able to get away with neglecting the rest, but still, I wouldn't recommend it because once you do the rest right, it's so easy to, once you do the first part right, it's so easy to get the rest of it right for the few people who do contact you that you might as well just do that. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. Like I said before, I do these videos every weekday on a customer service topic, posting them on Quora, also on YouTube, so depending where you're watching, it's on the other platform as well. I write about this stuff regularly on Quora in response to questions there, and also on my website, 8020service.com. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I've got a guide coming out soon, available for pre-order. I'll put a link up on the website, 8020service.com, where you can find that if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll wrap this video up here. Like, thumbs up, subscribe, upvote, all that stuff. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video.